Welcome to Ready, Set, Real Estate, where we will help empower and educate you on many different aspects of real estate, finance, and investing. Each week, we will expand your knowledge and uncover hidden truths. We will break down real-world scenarios and study actual how-to strategies. Anyone can buy real estate, but together we'll ensure you make smart real estate investment decisions. Now, here's your host, award-winning author, international speaker, and real estate educator, Lisa Gillett.
Happy Wednesday. It is that time. Welcome back. Let me check my mic. Oh my gosh. Yes, it is working. Shout out to those of you who are tuning in on Instagram, IG Live. Say hi, say hello, welcome, welcome. Let's see. Caddy Forte is in the building. BDA 25448 has joined. I am covering this show from a space and place of a conversation that I'd like to continue online with my online tribe here. Offline, I get folks to call me and ask me that infamous, very infamous question that says, is now the time to buy or should I wait for prices to drop? Bum, bum, bum. Are you that person who's like, I'm going to wait for prices to drop? If you are, then I've got some news for you. You may not want to do that. Before I jump into that, say hi, say hello, press 1 below. Lets me know you're here. 1 lets me know you're here in the chat below. 2 lets me know you shared it. So sharing is caring. And you know what? I've got some very sad news. I broke my Ready, Set, Real Estate mug. So I'll be ordering another one. I'll be placing some orders. There's some of you who were interested in wanting the cup. So great, great. I've got more great news. Listen, they're full of great news. So let's see. I'm going to put it in a caption here. Is now secured as a Canadian UK and US trade. Okay. For those of you who've been rocking with me for some time, I've got some news here. This is progress. This is wonderful news. Wonderful news. I just got word yesterday from our trademark attorney that we have finally secured the last market we were going after, which is the Canadian market. And we've now officially secured the Ready, Set, Real Estate trademark. It's a long process. And, you know, for those of you who have got these great ideas and concepts, I cannot implore enough and encourage you enough to secure your ideas, protect your ideas, because this started out as something fun back in 2000, it's been 7 years now, 2017, I think, when we first played around with the idea of Ready, Set, Real Estate as a tagline, as a saying, as a show concept. And then it's evolved, right? It evolved to audio podcasting, video, audio podcasting, and now merch and mugs. You know, you see I'm wearing one of the sweaters, and we've got jackets and hats and all kinds of t-shirts. And it just has, you know, it's taking on its own, it's just taking on its own being, if you will. And so we definitely locked in USA, right? So funny, USA, the US marks and the UK. We were granted UK. We actually went after China, and China rejected our application for the mark, but I'm okay with that. And then Canada, which is right up above us, up north, and the Real Estate 100 teen, the Real Estate 100 teen home buying experience was actually written and translated in French to appease to the Canadian market, because real estate done in Canada is fairly similar to real estate done here, with the exception of taxes, property taxes, that sort of thing. But pretty much the same as we experience it here in the United States, and same with UK. So I'm excited to share this wonderful news with you all, that stick with your plans, stick with that wild idea. There's a method to my madness. There really is. And it's on a bigger scale of things for me to come, more to come. But in order to get into positions and places, I think the important thing, and I really appreciate hearing Gary Vee mention this, for some of you following Gary Vee on social media. I watched a clip this morning and he said, IP is so underrated. Intellectual property and owning intellectual property is so underrated as we start to move in this area of AI and more creation of content, and more ways to connect with businesses and ad services, and so much more. So, of course, that made me feel wonderful, because I've got a list of IP that I've invested time and money in securing that. And sometimes you go, paying for this stuff and then waiting for the process, and you kind of ask yourself, is it worth it? And so when you come across people who understand it, they say, absolutely, it is worth it. And so I am off on a tangent, but it's very relevant here to the show, because the real estate that we talk about here on this show is the one between the 5 inches of the space between your ears, which is the mind. You all know I'm huge on that, if you connected with me from Shift Your Thinking. And what we see today and what we've envisioned today, any piece of property has come out from the mind's eye of some wonderful person who envisioned a house there, or envisioned Magic Mountain there, or envisioned a gas station, or envisioned a parking lot there, or envisioned a multifamily building there, or envisioned a laundromat there, or envisioned a school there, or envisioned a park there, or envisioned ... You see where I'm going with this? Starts here. That's where it starts. I feel really relaxed today, y'all. So I've had an interesting week, productive week. So I'm in my, I'm feeling really okay. This is where I'm at with it. For those of you who are tuning in to the show and are new to me, I'm Lisa Gillett, also known as Super Agent, broker, owner of Devenio Estates, a boutique firm here in SoCal, Southern California. Pricing strategy advisor, short sale and foreclosure certified. I hold a seniors real estate specialist designation. And all that means is I do my continuing education. I'm experienced in these fields. I love what I do. I love what I do. I love what I do. I said this yesterday, shared with my husband, and I said, I really love my job. How many are you able to say that? That you really love what you do? I really love my job. I had a consult yesterday with a new client who is in the probate. This would be a probate type sale. And I shared that with them. I love working in the probate space. Oh my goodness. And I said, I feel like I'm doing ancestors work. You get to hear the stories, and you get to learn the history of the home, and how long it's been in the family, and how it got to the next person, to the next person, to the next person, and what this home has survived. In this particular instance, this home has survived in 1994 Northridge earthquake. Chimney came crumbling down, or and so it had to be replaced. And I love what I do. You get to learn all these things about a property. And then you get to find out what is the goal of the family and how you can help them achieve that goal. How do we provide the solution and the services to help them achieve that goal? And so I'm in that space. I'm in that space of gratitude. I think also because I've gotten more clear on the rest of the year, how this is going to go. I've had some very ambitious goals. If you know, as you know, we're in law school. Like you, me, we're in law school. Okay. We're doing this together. This is a we effort. And I've had some very ambitious goals. I'm in my last year, and the goal has been to sit for the bar. And I decided that I will allow myself to focus on finishing my last year. And when we get to the bar, we get to the bar. It doesn't have to be, within the next, right after. And so I'm allowing myself that grace, especially as this year and this quarter, I watched my business pick up right after I pivoted from school. And so when I decided that I'm going to pivot from, we've finished finals, we've passed, we're on to the next year and the last year, I then said, okay, I've got to get out here and focus back on work in the business. We hired a new agent. I'm allowing myself to delegate more of my tasks and more of what's happening in the deals to our transaction coordinator, Jasmine Mosley. I'm gonna shout her out here. She was a guest on the show in the past, and she's amazing. She's amazing. She's awesome. She knows her stuff as a licensee. So I love that. Evan Jefferson's in the building. He says, hey, we're doing this together. Absolutely. And I'm decided. I called Evan yesterday. He's my friend. We've been doing a lot of this online business and education and leading the masses to positive places and higher places, pun intended, positive places and higher places. As you know, connect with Evan Jefferson. He's definitely delved into the cannabis industry and the opportunities there. We talked about cannabis on the show when we talked about the opportunities in terms of purchasing land and growing. We had some guys that came on and they were doing a tour back then, and realizing that there are still folks, maybe Evan, you can correct me, am I wrong? We're just having a conversation today as it relates to folks and what's happening with the market. But correct me if I'm wrong, that the conversation back then, a couple years ago, before cannabis, when cannabis or the onset of it started to become legalized, and Evan, if you have time and you want to jump on, I'll send you the link. Let me know. I'll send you the link and we can have this cannabis conversation. And then, that would so be impromptu, because then I could touch on the real estate side of it, how cannabis is one of those things in the industry that you've got, it's legal state, illegal federal, and how that affects you securing, insurance, banking, all that fun stuff. And we can talk more about that. So Evan, let me know if you've got time. You can let me know and I'll send you the link and we can come on and do our thing and have a conversation. The question I was posing, Evan, full circle, the question I was posing, are we as a community still underrepresented in the cannabis industry? What is it? How many billions now? They said it was like a 2 point something billion. Is it 2? I don't know. It's bigger numbers. This stuff. I haven't really dealt with it because on the real estate side of it, escrow companies won't touch it if it's cannabis because, they would, here in California, escrow is overseen. There's business oversight. And so their deposits are protected by whom? The federal government, right? The federal FDIC, Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. And so they would lose their protection in receiving deposits from businesses that deal in cannabis. So that makes it a bit challenging to work in that space. Same thing on the insurance side of things in the business arena and real estate. I've worked with attempting to assist folks in locating warehouses and insurance, securing the proper property insurance and coverage for businesses that are in cannabis is also a challenge here in California. I don't know if some of you may be running into that. So Evan's got some facts for us as we're having this cannabis conversation, just kind of an impromptu here, because this is, we like to talk about opportunity money. When we were in the crypto space, we were talking about crypto and as it relates to real estate and property and opportunity. So Evan says the market size is estimated at a 33.84 billion in 2024 and is expected to reach 69.25 billion by 2029. So my 2 billion is way off. See, this is how out of touch I've been in this space. So with that being said, Evan says, let's schedule cannabis combo next week, maybe. Absolutely. I'm open because I know some of our following and those who we're connected to are delving in cannabis, and we have not necessarily explored more of it since we had the last guest on the show talk about the real estate opportunities as it relates to cannabis. So I'm down and up if you are too. So I'm here for it. I am here for it. That's the beauty about having a podcast platform that you run, own, and operate, that you can dictate what kind of topics and guests you want to have on the show. That's so beautiful. So beautiful. This is the power of ownership, right? All right. With that being said, without further ado, let's jump into a sponsor for today's show, Omnis Property Solutions. We'll be right back after this break. Stay tuned.
Do you have properties that need to be maintained? For professional services that guarantee your property will stay safe and secure, Omnis Property is the team you want by your side. As a company, we pride ourselves on our best-in-class professionals, equipped with the latest technology for all your end-to-end property preservation needs. That means that from start to finish, our expert team can handle everything from accurate assessments to preservation projects of all sizes. Save money and time by working with leading experts that understand your needs and are committed to premier service. Get started today by contacting us for your project estimate. Visit www.omnispreservation.com or call 310-957-9132.
Evan says, I'm about to be a guest already. Said real estate. Hercules. Yes, you are. You've got tons of value and tons to offer. And you've been doing some amazing things, running the Black Billionaires Club, author of the Black Billionaires book, and running the group ERGJ on Facebook. And you have done so much offline and online, and you've been on to the next. You've been ahead of the trend of what's been happening in the markets as a financial advisor. And so much respect to you, and my hat's off to you. And so we, yes, definitely have you on the show and touch on that cannabis conversation. All right. So yes, he's like, we got commercials. Of course, we got commercials. We got folks helping out, sponsoring, supporting the show. All right. With that being said, let's rock and roll into today's show topic. All right. Disclaimers, of course. The information provided on this show should not be considered legal or tax advice. Please seek legal and tax advice from those reputable, licensed professionals regarding your specific situation. All right. With your specific situation. As I shared, I'm an active real estate broker. So that this is, I'm seeing the day-to-day things of what's happening in the market. And I wanted to have a discussion before I jump back into work and school stuff. As you hear, we'll have Evan Jefferson on the show next week. So let's talk about this. Waiting for the prices to drop. Here's a couple things that folks should consider. You're all thinking and setting yourselves up for some serious competition. If you're all waiting for the market, the bottom to fall out and all this other stuff. Well, we've been waiting waiting. Back in 2008, right? 2007, markets high, 2008, market crash. And so everyone was like waiting for this mass inventory of foreclosed homes to hit the market. And it never did, right? We call that the shadow inventory. And there were things that I had, this was a lot I had to learn about real estate, of how political real estate is. Hint, hint, how political real estate is. And you've heard me say this on some past shows about, even in terms of getting plans approved and developments, what you see happening in your backyards in your community, whether you are experiencing gentrification, it's happened. These are 50-year plans that are happening way before you start to see the evidence of it. When I say planning, meaning there's meetings happening. There's planning meetings happening. There's, public hearing notices that, hey, FYI, we are considering building this, doing this. Some instance, you do have that ugly instance where eminent domain happens. The government seizes a property for highest and best use, and as a result is required to pay fair market value to the owner. And it's supposed to have a government purpose to benefit the public interest. Can y'all tell I'm in law school, y'all? That's literally what I was learning last year. And in Constitution, was it constitutional law? Yeah, I think constitutional law. When the government steps in and takes things. I was listening to some guy talking. So sidebar, I was listening to someone kind of go off a rant at a meeting, and he's talking about, the government is responsible for this three-front world war that we're facing. And he goes on and on and on. And I'm reading the comments, and everyone says, I thought you guys are supposed to have freedom of speech in your country right here in the US. Not true. We don't have freedom of speech. And it's, freedom of speech is something that pertains in the government setting. If you're in your own home and I come in there in your home and say something offensive as a private person, I don't have a freedom of speech in your home. So let that sink for a little bit when we think we understand what our rights are, right? Sidebar. Okay, let me reel it back in. See, this is what happens when you're studying at the same time. So, as I was sharing, so we saw we thought the shadow inventory was going to show up. I'm going to mess with this caption real quick. I want to put it in the comments. And it never happened, right? It never happened. And why is that? Is because Wall Street stepped in. And they did bulk buying, purchasing, and then the rest is history. And we're here again today. Now, here's a couple things to think about. The interest rate environment that we are seeing right now, and the Federal Reserve is being very cautious. They continue to be very cautious to weigh the interest rates against inflation, attempting to cool the market. But here's the reality, at least in our area in California, is not enough built housing. Evan says, we need your rants more often. Okay. Approved. I approve this message, right? I'm here for it. He says real estate rants. Genius. Yeah, I actually had another show called that. There's about 50 episodes on the real estate rants. It's literally what I called it, Evan. You'd be very proud. Real estate rants is what I called it. It's on my show. It's under my playlist. And I had a whole nother show. That's when I was with my colleague and former business partner, Hugh Williams, still out there doing his thing. And so that's what it was called, real estate rants. I had the show cover, music and everything. And that's why I did it, because it allowed me to be in that space and just rant is exactly that. And so here we are in 2024, and you are all like, well, I'm just going to wait until the housing prices drop and they go down. Here's the reality. You and everyone else is waiting for that to happen. And we are on the cusp of potentially a new administration, depending which way voting happens, right? Which way selected officials, elected officials, whatever your theories are of our officials, is whether they are selected or elected, will be under an administration that may be pro real estate or not so much, right? And one of the things that I shared last time, because this is what I learned from my coach, shout out to your former real estate coach, David Plummer, when I was working with him early in my career. He was also a guest on the show, past guest. And he pointed out something that was so key. He pointed out something so key about presidents and the administration. He said, pay attention to the interests of the president. That is what industry is going to make money. Oh, I said, no way. Is this true? And so I start thinking about, well, what was Clinton into? Oh, okay, yeah. What was Bush into? Oil, okay, yeah, gas prices did their thing. Yeah, okay. Obama, okay. Yeah, we see. Yeah. Trump, real estate, okay, gets my attention, piques my ear, and I'm like, okay. Right. And so I go, I'm paying attention. I'm starting to notice. And it seems natural, right? Someone says, vote for me. Vote for me. I set you free. Either worked for some and it didn't work for others. And I'm jabbing here with that statement. Listen, this is a rant then. This is a rant. This is Donald Trump and cannabis, right? It's real estate, and you pay attention to what's happening. So he says Trump signed the 2018 Farm Bill. This is true. He also signed some other things that also deferred taxation if you invested in distressed communities. Deferred it for 10 years. I have to double check when that's going to sunset. But that's when we start to see all the revitalization of the communities, i.e. gentrification. And so, yeah, this is what we're talking about here, is pay attention as you are sitting on the sidelines saying, I'm going to wait for the prices to drop, because there's something called market conditions and market factors, external of what you thinking, beyond pricing and supply and interest rates. Let's have the higher level thinking and conversations about realizing when you were sitting on the sidelines waiting for all the foreclosures to hit the market, and they never did. If you read that book, this is some reading. Homewreckers. This was during Obama's administration, folks. And we missed a key opportunity. We missed a key opportunity during that administration to set up a way for investors to buy the foreclosure properties. But guess what? The administration said, hey, we helped and prevented the country from going under, and we've helped save thousands of homes. And you know what they did? They sold them in bulk to investors, and to never be returned to the market for home ownership of individuals like you and I or your children. You're talking about over 500,000 properties that won't see the day of an owner occupancy. That was during the Obama administration. Call it what you want. Love who you want as your president. But pay attention to the things that are happening and the bills they're passing and what they're enacting. Because what also you all didn't realize is during the Obama administration is this going to hurt some people's feelings. That mortgage insurance premium on those FHA insured loans that most of you understand is the first time home buyer loans used predominantly or maybe mainly a lot of folks in the underserved, underrepresented communities. That MIP premium, that little risk premium and insurance premium for because you're putting less than 20% down during the Obama administration, it was raised to the highest it had ever been in the history of loans. And to date, it has not been reduced. They said, well, we've got to make sure we don't have a collapse again, just in case. But guess what? The premium was so high back then. By 2011, it was overfunded. It was already overfunded. We are in 2024. Please, someone explain to me, why is the premium still high? Why are we still penalizing the people of today for something that has happened now? How long ago? 13, over a decade ago. And then as a political ploy, Obama suggested that he would decrease the MI premium right when Trump was stepping into office. And he wanted to say, well, I've done something great. I'm dropping the premium. I'm lowering the premium. And he attempted to do that, but Trump stepped in and said, come on, man. Like, you had the opportunity to do that on your watch, and now you're doing it when I was coming into office. We got to look at this. We got to see what's happening here. And so that's when you all heard that Trump rejected it. But no, come on, they're playing games. It's games. It's games. So anyway, pay attention. Pay attention to what's happening. So waiting for prices to drop, you and everyone else. So guess what's going to happen? You are going to create a bubble, you all consumers and buyers who are on the sidelines waiting, because those of you who are purchasing now are getting great deals. Kudos to you, right? Because we're negotiating some great prices. We don't have sellers that are pumping their chests and banging their chests and saying, I'm not giving you a credit. I'm not doing this. I'm not fixing that. We've got sellers today saying, I don't want to lose this buyer. Imagine being desired. Imagine being desired in the housing market. You're so desired right now, you buyers. And if you continue to wait, guess what? There's going to be too many of you to pick from, that the sellers will say, I can pick, choose, and refuse. And guess what? We have a repeat of what we saw during the pandemic, where sellers were saying, hey, may the best man or woman or non-binary win. That's what it's going to come down to. Evan says, are we currently in a buyer's or seller's market? Here in California, we're in a seller's market. We just don't have enough inventory for the demand of buyers. But it's still a sweet time and a sweet spot, because there's not as many overbids that we're seeing in certain micro markets. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So pay attention. We've had a lot of people afraid of these rates. And speaking of rates, I'm not a lender. I don't do loans. But I do know, and this is what I encourage with my agents. We've got agent training sessions happening. So I've got a camping trip this weekend. Woo woo! The next agent training session is August 3rd. If you guys want to jump on here as an agent, for those of you who are real estate agents, I do train agents professionally. And so we've got our next training August 3rd, 9 a.m. We're doing it by Zoom. And one of the things that I share and encourage our agents is to find out, understand loans. You may not do loans, but if you've got the product, right? If you've got the product, I don't know, every time I think of product, I think of Blue Magic. I'm so forever scarred because of that movie. I can't say the word product without thinking of Blue Magic. Evan says, I know who I'm calling when I start my real estate investment company. Who are you calling? Who are you going to call? Come on. Who are you going to call? I'm having too much fun. I'm giddy today. I'm giddy. Must be the heat. If you are, this is what happens when Evan gets on the show. This is just, and that's because he's texting on the chat. He's not actually on. When we get together, it's a blast. Who are you going to call? Super agent. Who are you going to call? Now, you know what I'm going to do, right? So now I'm going to go hire somebody to go create a little, add a little snare to that. Oh, you play too much. Okay. With that being said, let's wrap it up. You all indulged me and endured me in my rants. And just be mindful. Let's be strategic. Imagine being desired. If you're a buyer, imagine a time where you're being desired. I went to show a property. You know, we're looking at properties. I've got properties and clients in different ranges, right? We've got clients in the 5, 7s, 8s, millions and up. And the beautiful thing here in California is, you know, millions not what it used to be back in the day, which I think is very interesting, that I stuck around long enough in this business to watch $1 million be, you know, right around the corner in some of our communities. It's like right up the street. You're 2 blocks away from houses being sold for $900 to $1 million. And so what I'm saying here, is imagine a time where you're being desired as a buyer and the seller is willing to negotiate with you, wants to negotiate with you. And the reason I say that is because when we're showing properties, opposite of what we've seen during the pandemic, where sellers agents didn't even call you back to find out if your client was interested, what did they think? They were just so inundated and overwhelmed with so many buyers that they just went with whoever was the highest and best terms. And so now we're starting to see sellers agents are reaching back and saying, hey, is your client interested? What did they think? What is their feedback? You know, what about our price? And we're starting to see price drops and that kind of thing. Price improvements is the buzzword. So I will say, as you are considering whether, you know, sticking on the fence, buy when you can buy and it makes financial sense. This is not me saying that you got to do it today. Go now. Do what makes financial sense for you and your situation. At the end of the day, beginning and during the day, lease is not paying your mortgage. So it has to make financial sense for you and your situation. If you're in a space and place where you can do it, but you're hearing the news that, hey, you should wait, you should do this, and you should do that, talk to a team, talk to a professional. At some point, you should talk with a professional. Get some real advice out there. All right. Evan, thank you. He says, happy is my decision. We have fun building a fortune. Absolutely. I like that. Is that your affirmation or your business tagline? That's great stuff right there. Happy is my decision. We have fun building a fortune. One of my taglines is my clients value, respect me, and happily pay me. With that, I say we're signing off. You all have been great, beautiful, fantastic. Have a productive week. We'll see you next week on another information-packed episode on, you guessed it, the #1 best real estate worldwide podcast. Like I said, we're officially secured and locked in the UK and Canadian market. We are the original. We are here. We've created this. We've built this, and we're going to take it all the way to the top. We're already there. Just, you need to invite some folks to join us here. We are together. All right. With that, I say, we'll see you next week. Take care. Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Ready, Set Real Estate Podcast with Lisa Gillett, the LA Super Agent. Please like, subscribe, and share LA Super Agent everywhere on your favorite podcast platform.